I'm here with Hana, and now I can give Hana good eye contact, and she's not reacting to me because we worked on a lot of stuff. In this video, I'm going to go over some tips that you can use if you have a dog that's reactive to the sight or presence of someone new. So basically, I have a couple of treats here to keep Hana's attention here. Now, we're also using a clicker for this exercise. A lot of people think a clicker is really only used for training. We're using this for really behavior modification. Now, the guardian here has a clicker, and she's going to click every time Hana looks at me after I give her both these treats and I don't have an incentive. So what I want the guardians to do is there are kids in the house, and sometimes the kids come over and she barks, and she's coming from a place of fearful aggression. She doesn't want them here, and I think she's learned by acting tough it causes people to move away at more distance. That's why she does this. So basically what we're going to do is we're going to use the clicker to motivate her to look at me and then get a reward. Now, when you're doing this, before you do this, you can set her up for success by exercising her a little bit before you actually practice exercise. Just make sure by the end of the exercise, there's at least 15 minutes between the end of the exercise before the person comes over to your house. Now, before we do this, we're going to do something called priming the clicker. I'm going to show you how to do it with 2 treats just so I can get rid of these, and then we're going to see if we motivate the dog to look at me. So that would have been a click once we're doing this. We're not there. All right, so what we're going to do to prime the clicker is you grab about 10 treats, and you're going to throw them on the ground one at a time. You can do it multiples as well. But it's every time the dog licks up the treat, you want to click exactly the same time. This is classical conditioning. After a while, the dog hears the click and thinks about it meaning the treat in my mouth. So are you ready to click?
Yeah.
All right, so Hana. There you go. So now we've and again, I did this off camera, but if you're doing this at home, you need to make sure you're doing this. All right, now we have the dog on a leash. What I would do is either have a dog on a leash or have it tied around like a post or something so that you know the dog can't get to that person if you're worried about it. So we want all the humans to be confident. Now at this point forward, if you click and then give her the treat and say friendly.
Friendly.
Now if you want, you can assign the name of each person when you do this exercise. I do this for dogs that are dog aggressive. Every time I look at another dog, I click and I say friendly. So friendly means be in a kind of an amicable mood when you look at it. Now, when you're doing this, don't have any direct eye contact. See her without looking at her. And then just kind of watch her on the corner. As soon as she looks at me, and she's going to do it excellent right there, click.
Friendly.
Perfect. She doesn't even realize. What we should see as this video goes on is her looking at me faster and faster. Now, she doesn't know this. The first several times she does it, it's accidental. She just hears me rambling on behind her. She turns around to see what I'm doing, and then suddenly, and you see how she's snapping around. We call that redirection. And so I'm just going to keep on talking, kind of explaining the tips. But when you're doing this, you don't want to be luring the dog. Don't show the dog you have any treats. The guardian's doing a great job of keeping her hands behind her back.
Friendly.
There we go. So what I want you to do is arrange to have your friend come over, or whoever you want to do this with, and exercise her first, give her that recovery period, and then just have her on the leash, maybe stand there, your friend comes in, maybe sits down. And it'd be better if your friend whoever the target is sitting. And it'd be better if they're sitting sideways to her, kind of like this. Now, dogs are always going to look at any change in their environment. So if I go like this, I'm going to get her attention. I don't want to do that sort of thing. I did it for demonstration purposes just because I moved earlier. But I want her to do it on her own so that she starts doing it on her own. And there you go. So, yep, and it's just really a patience and a numbers game. So yeah, if she was targeting your hand, just put it behind your back. And we also did a focus exercise, which I think we're getting some residual for this, which is good. These are good problems to have, but you're normally, don't practice the focus game before this happens. There you go. So the idea is you want to go about 10 to 20 treats. And so now it's just like every time I look at that person, I get a treat. Keep repping this until she's turning around faster and faster. She's not quite there yet. And so she's a little bit of a look, so now she's starting to kind of figure out, I kind of turned a little bit and got that treat, maybe I'll get a little closer. Sometimes they try to offer you a shake, a roll down, a roll over, a sit, or different things along those lines. The only thing that she can do to get the treat is by looking at the person. And as you progress this, she's going to get better and faster at this. Now, if she's reacting to the person needs to be further away. But again, I think if you have the person sitting down and they're sideways to her, that's going to be set her up for success. Eventually, we would like to have them facing her. I'm going to talk about the Roadmap Success video below this one, some tips that the guardians can use to help the dog feel more comfortable around other people by doing the focus and things like that. There you go. So we'll get one more and then we'll go ahead and wrap this one up. Oh, there we go. So we'll keep on doing it as long as she's doing this.
Okay.
And having a treat pouch like that is great because you just have as many and have more than you have like 3 times the number you think you're ever going to need. Because as many of those as you can get, and you're starting to see we're getting more and more of those faster. This is within, what are we at, like 3 minutes, 5 minutes, something like that. Eventually, this is going to happen like boom, right away. And so when you do this, I'd like to try to arrange for you to have one guest come by a day to do this for the next 2 weeks. So they can carry momentum. So keep it, make sure that it's not when there's construction going on, we're not fighting or arguing in the house, there's nothing negative going on because dogs will pick up on that, they're very perceptive of those sort of things. So if you practice this with about 10 to 20 treats, you should notice by the end of the week the dog's pretty much just staring at the person. Then you can ask the dog to stare and look for a second, like before you click. Then 2 seconds before you click. The other dog's kind of lingering and having it happen longer and longer. But I've used this technique for dogs that are reactive to skateboards or muzzles or people on bird scooters or all sorts of different stuff. And just teaching the dog, just looking at them creates a good positive thing. Well, that is Hana, not Hannah, Hana. And these are some tips and tricks you can use if you have dogs reacting to the sight of a person or a thing.